Imagine earning money every time someone pays with a credit card. I'm going to explain how payment processing creates passive income. If you keep waiting for the perfect time to start a business, you'll never begin. And if you can't sit through this for 5 minutes, then you, my friend, are not going to make it. This is your chance to take action and get everything set up in just a week. Hey guys, Michael here. If you don't know who I am, I've built a 7-figure passive income business in payment processing, starting from scratch and mastering what works along the way. With 15 years of experience, I'm here to help you create your own path to financial freedom, faster and smarter. So the best place to start is first, you need to find a reliable payment processing partner. While you do this, you need to register for an LLC or an Inc. I can't give you advice on that, but that's what you need to do, okay? Because you need a business registered. Now you can do it under your name, not recommended. You should put it under a business, register a business, LLC, Inc., whatever it is that you could do, you wanna do. You gotta do the research on that. I can't give you advice once again. And then once you've done that, open a new business account, that is. So then that's how you can get paid. Because these payment processors are gonna require your ACH information for your bank so you can get paid residuals. So that's the first thing you need to do, okay? The second thing is reviewing that payment processing provider's agreement. And I would say, make sure you're reviewing it, make sure you're signing with the right company. If I were you, I would consult with an attorney to make sure you're not signing your life away. Make sure your residuals are lifetime. They don't cut off. Obviously, if you breach or whatever, that's a different story, but they don't cut off after XYZ or whatever the case might be. That's one, lifetime residuals. Number two, make sure the contract or agreement is not exclusive, because you don't want to be exclusive to that single processor. You want to be able to work with others if you want to, because if that processor can't handle a certain type of account, which is, let's say, a high-risk account, I don't want to get into that right now, but let's say that company cannot handle that type of business, then you have the flexibility to go elsewhere. And it should never be exclusive, period. Another thing is make sure it's assignable, because while you're building residual in this business, you're also building equity. And what that means is, obviously it's your company and you're 100%, whatever, equitable in that company, but that residual actually has a multiple just like a business does. So while you're building that residual, you're able to, in the future, let's say you want to sell it. You want to sell a portion of your residuals or all of your residuals and get a big chunk of money. So example here, this is a very, very wide example. If you're making $1,000 a month, you could potentially get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for it, depending on so many different variables, which again, I'm not going to get into right now. Make sure you follow the card brand's policies, regulations, the sponsoring banks, because if you don't, that's one of the breaches in the contract. So be very careful with that. Another thing is when you're looking at the ref share, make sure that ref share is tiered. The reason I like tiered is because it pushes me. I can start at a starting point because, hey, I'm this and this. I can promise you the world. But if I'm not performing, I should stay on tier 1. But what if I am a performer? Then I want to be able to move down the line and be able to go to the next tier based on factors like, how much residual is coming in for the company, so on and so forth. And you want to make sure not only tiered, that once you hit that tier, that whole account, your whole portfolio will change to that second tier or third tier, okay? It's very important. Now, once you've figured out, okay, yes, the contract looks fine, I'm good with it, I'm going now to sign it. Once you sign it, you go through that onboarding process with that partner, with that provider. They'll send you like ACH information. Remember, we talked about this is where your bank account information will go, your whatever else that they need, your W-9, because now you're considered an independent contractor. So all that information, they'll walk you through it. It's not a cookie cutter solution. It's very believe it or not, a lot of these payment processing providers are very old school. So you're going to have to figure it out on your own, honestly. It's just the way you would have to do it. You got to do the research and you got to do it. Obviously, unless you join a community and all of that stuff, that's a different story. But if you're doing this on your own, I'm giving you all of the secrets of how to start a credit card processing company on your own here. But yes, so once you have that figured out, you're signing, you're doing the onboarding, and you'll get this wonderful email or you'll get a call. You are approved, my friend. Now, once you're approved, congratulations. You are a step ahead of many other Americans in the United States. And now you can actually start selling. You just start building those relationships and whatnot. Again, this is from my perspective and what I recommend doing. You can do whatever you want to do, but my next step after doing that would be to, once you're approved, I would just create and you can do this at any time, but I don't want to get fancy with CRMs, because once you get fancy with CRM, signing up with this, now you got to learn something new. And who has time for that? Nobody. Because that's not going to change anything, especially in the beginning. All you have to do is create a Google Sheet, use your Google Calendar to be able to start prospecting. I'll tell you this, when I started off, I used a calendar, and I'll actually share that story with you because it's a very powerful story in terms of when I started off. Beside the book of business that I had, I wanted to go out and build relationships too. It's not just, building on your network, which is my recommendation. If that's all you do, you'll be successful because you'll be busy enough. But I went ahead and just went to other businesses and so on and so forth. So there was this restaurant down the street from my house, and it was around 12 p.m. and I was driving by, and I ended up just saying, you know what, let me just stop by. And I went in there, and inside the bar, by the bar area in that restaurant, was the owner sitting down doing some paperwork, because noon, the bar is closed. Obviously, the restaurant is closed. They don't open until 4 p.m. So I went in there, I introduced myself, and again, I made a lot of mistakes. Right away, I went in for the kill. And I literally said, my name is Michael Gibrail, and I do credit card processing, and I would love to save you money. Not recommended in today's world, because that's not how you win customers. But anyways, I got lucky enough for the guy to say, hey, Michael, good to meet you. Come back in 3 months. Now, for the average person that's listening, or even in sales, 98%, I believe, I don't quote me on this, but I believe 98 or something like a very high percentage of salespeople lack follow-ups, okay? And again, I was there, it started off wrong, all of that stuff, but he said, come back in 3 months. So, in my world, in my perspective, okay, I'll come back in 3 months. But in his defense, he's pretty much saying F off, because 3 months, what is wrong with you? So I went ahead and went in my car. I said, you got it. I got his name. His name was Joe. Went in my car, pulled out my calendar, 3 months. I put the address, the exact same time, because the same day, same time, because if he's here the same day, same time, chances are he's going to be here again. 3 months come around and it popped up on my calendar. Here's what you need to do today. So at that exact time, 12 p.m., I think it was a Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, 12 p.m. Tuesday, 3 months later, I go in and the exact same situation. Joe, the business owner, was sitting down in the bar and he was doing paperwork. And I came in and I said, hi, Joe, Michael, I don't know if you remember me 3 months ago. And I'll never forget his face. It's like as if he saw a ghost, because he was unexpectedly, like, he didn't expect me to actually come back 3 months later like an idiot, like who does that really? But the power of follow-up. So then I go in there and, talking to him and all of that stuff. And long story short, I ended up closing that business as far as sale, not closing, shutting it down for him. But I ended up closing the business, and that merchant became one of my best merchants. I love this story because A, follow-up, number one. 2, the simplicity. I didn't use a CRM. I didn't use nothing. I put the notes in my calendar area. So that way when it popped up, because we're humans, we'll forget what we did yesterday. I can't remember what I ate 5 minutes ago, but if you don't document that, you're going to forget, because if it popped up and I'm like, I don't know what this is, document it, because you'll appreciate it 90 days later or 3 months later. So when I read that, I was like, oh, wow, I remember this day very clearly. Okay, perfect. I know what I need to do. So Again, no fancy CRMs, none of that. It was a calendar, damn it. So you can do it too. It's still happening today. You don't need anything fancy. You just gotta take action and go out there, because if you're not hitting businesses and talking to business owners every single day, you're not going to get leads. They're not going to come knocking on your door. It's not going to it will happen eventually once you have set up the foundation and all of that stuff. But in the beginning, nobody knows who you are. You're the best. Don't get me wrong. You're the best at what you do, and you're hungry and you're going to kill it. But nobody knows that. They haven't seen you. They don't know who you are. So how are they going to come to you? So again, that's what I would do. Use simple setups as far as doing it through like Google Sheets, and then use Google Calendar. That's it. That is literally it. Now, the next thing that you need to do is, once you've set up these businesses and utilized your network and you've closed some deals, go back to these businesses. Build that relationship, continuously follow up with them, because now you have opportunities to potentially upsell them or on any other services, for example, or whatever the case might be. But don't just give them service. You got to give them the absolute best experience, because that's the reason we keep going back to Disney World, right? Because it gives us an experience. It gives us, once emotion is in place and you have that feeling, it's completely different than just having a service. You are now associating that person with a feeling that you have. So that experience is vital. They can have a good experience or a bad experience. I'm going to give you an example of one. Recently, I had a business. They're a wholesale company, which they sell products to dollar stores, gas stations, and so on and so forth. And this business has been calling me for months, potentially even a year. And when they call me, they're like, hey, Michael, can you save us money? It was always about the money situation with saving them, because there are other processors going there and try to switch them over. And I said, you have a good deal, and I'm putting them on a different avenue. So I told them, yes, I'll save you. But they were just busy, and it started becoming, I don't want to say the word resentful. They started resenting me, but they had that feeling of like, I feel like Michael is not doing anything. Well, the power of experience is where this changed this whole outcome completely. Most recently, this business had products on their website that are prohibited with the processor we had them with. Okay. And the processor we had them with sent them an email telling them, we're shutting you down today. Immediate shutdown. There is no 30-day notice, 7-day notice, or anything. And if you look at my website, my specialty personally, what I went into is high-risk payment processing. I help businesses that are in the high-risk space, find payment processing. And what I mean by high risk, again, I told you earlier, I don't want to get too deep into it, but high risk could be someone in the adult business, in the CBD, marijuana, travel. Those are all high-risk businesses, and you can see those on my website. If you go to industries, we work with so many. It's endless. Pharmaceuticals, you name it, we work with them. But anyways, so this person had 3 things. He had Kratom, which is a no-go. It's not processors, when they see that, it's like, especially on the low-risk processors, they'll shut you down. CBD was on his website, and he had sex enhancements on his website. Those are all prohibited with a low-risk processor. Now, he came to me, he was very unhappy. They didn't only shut his place down, he also had 2 dollar stores with us, and they shut those down too, okay? I had luckily a relationship with the processor, so I contacted the processor and they insisted they had to shut down the wholesale because of the prohibited items. And I told them, listen, they don't sell them anymore. They don't have them. They'll remove them from their website, because this is what the merchant told me. And they said, it doesn't matter. Once we've seen it, we got to shut it down. They said, we're going to shut down everything, even the dollar stores. I said, okay, the dollar stores, you're shutting it down because it's associated with the same owner. Can you just give me some time? The weekend is coming. This literally just happened last week. And if a business doesn't have a credit card machine and being set up to accept payments, it's going to be so tough. They're going to lose so much business that weekend. And weekend is usually their busiest time. So I got granted an approval by the processor that we work with. And they said, that's fine. We'll extend it to shutting them down on Monday, only for the dollar stores. So we ended up getting them. And I called the merchant, and you could feel that he was very almost like helpless, and he needed help. And I calmed him down. I said, listen, I got you. You don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to take care of this. Go home, sleep well, I got you covered. Let me stress for you. Let me take that burden off your shoulders and I'll handle the situation and you'll be up and running. I promise you that. I'm doing my best. So this was Thursday. Friday, we got the 2 dollar stores approved, okay? And then we did ship them overnight. So he ended up getting the machines on Saturday and was able to process. And the wholesale, even the processor I put them with, came back and said, we found these on his website. So I had to go back over the weekend and tell him, listen, let's remove these now. We need to remove them. You got to be serious about this. If you want to get an approval, because these processors work differently and they want these things gone. If you want, you can be on the low risk and pay lower fees. But if you want to go on the high risk, I still have those processors. We can go there, but you don't want to go there because it's going to cost you a shitload of money. Okay. So he was able to connect me with his web guy. And I told his web guy exactly what he needs to remove. In fact, he told me I removed everything, but I have a mentality of double checking everything. So I double checked and there was still one CBD product. I texted him. I said, remove this as well. They removed everything. I did my homework again on it, triple check. There was nothing on there about sex enhancements, kratom, or CBD. Monday morning, we get in. Underwriting at that time from the processor that we submitted it with, they now do their homework further and then they see there's nothing in there and we got them approved. And we shipped the machine overnight and they're receiving it today. Today's Tuesday. And when I called this merchant back and told them all this, because I have to underpromise and overdeliver. And if I told him I got you, don't worry, my name is on the line now. I'm taking all his burden, all his problems. And I told him, focus on your business. Don't worry about me. I got you. I'm going to take care of this. And I came through. And that gave him the absolute best experience. He didn't talk to me about pricing. He didn't talk to me about anything after that. He was thanking me so much. It was crazy. All because I gave him the best experience. That to me was an amazing experience. He was probably like, shit, if I had switched with somebody else, they're not going to do what this guy did. They're not going to do it. They're not going to go all in and try to help me. Okay. But I did. I came through for him. And it's like in life, when you come through for somebody, it's like almost saving somebody's life. You're like, you owe them a favor almost, like, oh my gosh, like this person did something so amazing for me. I gotta stick through this and I gotta do it. Now, do you think this person is gonna switch from me? No, it ain't gonna happen. I don't care if somebody comes in and says, I can save you $500 or $1,000 a month. They're not moving because they had that experience. Not only did they have a great experience with me agiling through and getting them approved and up and running so fast, but it's the experience of reliability. They now feel reliable about how that experience was. So what I did was after this, I went back after we got the dollar stores approved. And I asked him for testimonials. I said, listen, how was your experience? For real, how was it? He was like, oh my gosh, thank you. It was amazing. I don't know how you did it, but it's amazing. That actually calls for a testimonial. I'm sharing this with you because I'm so passionate about it, but I got a testimonial from him. And now I can use that testimonial for my benefit because I went above and beyond. And I don't care how many times you try to go to a business and try to say, hey, buy my products, do this, do that. Nothing says it better than from the horse's mouth. And that's the business. I mean, look at us every day, how we buy. We buy based on other people's experiences, right? That's how we buy. We don't want to make a decision on buying a product on Amazon unless it has thousands of reviews and 4.5 stars at bare minimum, right? That's how life is in business or anything. You want to have that credibility, and to do so, you generate those testimonials, okay? So I know this was a little longer here, but I want that message to resonate with you because it's so powerful. And I'm just going to shut up about that and move on to the next one. So again, the next one is generating testimonials. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but you should know what that means. Go on my website, you'll see testimonials and you will see case studies. And case studies are so important, again, because people, they relate to them. They can be like, oh, wow, they help this person, they can help me. It's that little mind twister. So anyways, so that's what you do. Now, You can do this. You can choose to do this or not. This is kind of like an optional thing, but I highly recommend it. When we grew up, we all want to be celebrities, right? We see all these movie stars and this and that. But like when I grew up, I wanted to be an actor. I really wanted to, act. And it was something that I saw people do. And it was like, oh my gosh, just looks fun. But talk about celebrity, because when you're a celebrity, look at Dwayne Johnson, look at all of these influencers. They're celebrities. When you see them, you're starstruck, right? When you see them out there, you have that level of respect because so many other people know who they are. So if you've seen them, you want to take a picture with them, you want to be there, you want to like, oh my gosh, get advice if they're, depending on what kind of influencer they are. How did you make it in life? What are the struggles you went through? Like all of that stuff. But what I would do is set up all your social media accounts or even pick one that you can focus on, right? It doesn't have to be all of them, but then you can take those testimonials and then you can repurpose them. You can have maybe an interview with your merchant, or it could just be your merchant just standing there talking about the experience they had with you. Let them mention your name. Let them say how amazing that experience, what you did for them, what you didn't do for them, all of that stuff. Let it be just raw. And once you start seeing, and this is obviously when you start making a little bit money where you can take and reinvest in your business, because that's how you grow a business. But you take those testimonials and you post them, and you're gonna see whichever ones have been watched the most, add dollars into them. So, now we're talking paid media. Put some money into that video and boost it up as far as views in your local area, okay? Let's say you live in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, or Birmingham, Michigan, or Farmington, Michigan. What you want to do is you want to create not just that city, maybe like the surrounding area in that county or whatever. And what you can do now is you can repurpose that video, and all the people that have social media that are seeing it, you're going to be popping up here and there. And it's not going to cost you a lot. It's not too expensive. But after a month of doing that, you're going to eventually be stopped at a gas station and be like, oh, I've seen your videos. You're the credit card processing guy, or you're the person that helped my friend that I saw on the video. So it's so powerful, and that will get you business. Now people are going to start seeing you. They're going to start knowing what you do, how you do it. So people are going to flock to you and try to like sign up with you as a business. One really big thing that I was big on, and I mentioned it a little earlier, is you got to touch base with your customers, because if you don't, someone else will, okay? You got to call them, see how they're doing. Don't just wait for them, I know a lot of people, including myself, in the beginning, I felt like, do I want to call them and open a can of worms? Maybe that person is having so many issues, and I kind of want to step away from that because, I don't want that. I don't want to wake up the giant if I don't have to. Well, here's a reality check. If you don't do that, number one, someone else will. They'll unveil their issues and their problems and their needs. Just like one of the things I always teach my mentees, my students in the community, when you are approaching someone to sell them or to try to earn their business, again, relationship building, ask questions. The person who asks questions and talks the least is the person that's going to win the sale, okay? I don't need to sell you. If you have to talk a lot to sell that person on who you are and why they should trust you, you're doing a bad job. I mean, one of my favorite books that I've read is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And he talks about the psychology in the mind, and it's like how you can twist it. And if you just stand there and mirror people, look that up. Look what mirroring people means when you have a conversation. This is one of his tactics. It's like repeating the last 2 to 3 words on something you found interesting, Here's an example. You talk to someone and they're saying, I've been very happy with my payment processor. You've been happy with your payment processor? Yeah, I've been with them for a long time, but I haven't talked to the guy for a while, but he's a nice guy and my rates are very good. Your rates are very good? Yeah, my rates are amazing. I pay very little and he got me taken care of because I process a lot. You process a lot? You get where I'm going with this? You're just asking questions. You're kind of peeling the onion little by little, and you'll get there. You will reach the smelliest part eventually, okay? And that's what you want to do. Anyways, I kind of went into a completely different thing, but touch base with your customers because that's very, very important to keep that relationship and them sticking with you. What's going on, Mr. Merchant, or whatever, like they're with you already. And you're asking them, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Are you happy with anything? Well, my money hasn't been coming in the way they're supposed to. Or, this guy came in the other day and tried to switch me. Well, guess what? If you didn't call that guy, he would have switched. if you didn't call and follow up with him to give you the opportunity to convince this person or understand why he wants to leave you, you would have never known if you didn't contact him. So it's important to keep contact once a month, once every 2 weeks. Plus, on top of that, that customer, that merchant can give you referrals and you call them, you're like, hey, if they're happy with everything and you've resolved. And sometimes, again, peeling onions, and it might be something they're feeling resentful against you because you haven't contacted them, you haven't talked to them, whatever it is. But once you peel that onion, you get to the bottom root, and now you look like a hero because you just fixed that issue that they had, and that changes everything. So once you've fixed that issue, again, get a testimonial, ask for referrals, because now they're happy with you. You gave them a wonderful experience, okay? That's what I would do. Now, the last thing is, I would say, don't bury your head in the sand. Be on the lookout on continued education in this industry, or any industry you get into, period. You wanna, whether it's listening to podcasts about it, working with a payment processor, being a part of a community that always is updating and evolving. My favorite thing that I say is, if you don't evolve, you dissolve. It's very important to evolve because that ability is tremendous and it's going to help you out a lot. You might have some questions after I just gave you all this whole rundown. One of them might be, Michael, I don't have a network in my phone book that I can reach out to. I would say, I'll probably say I don't believe you. That's the first thing I'd say, because everybody has someone. Unless you've been living under a rock for your whole life, you have a network. And if you truly, truly don't have a network, then guess what? You're gonna have to work a little bit harder to go into businesses that are foreign and you don't know them. I mean, you don't go out and eat, you don't know the person. You know how many times I have switched a business because I went and gave them business first? So many times. And it'd be restaurants. I'm switching up a jewelry place right now as we speak. And full transparency, this business we've been going back and forth on products they wanted to do this, they wanted to do that. And they've been so patient with me. That's all because I've given them business. So it changes that landscape. You can't sit here and tell me you don't have a single person in your network. Go through your credit card statement or your bank statement, however way you pay with to go for food or services or whatever the case might be. And if you don't, just remember places. Where do I go every day? Like, where do I eat? Go to those places because you're giving them business already. That's almost like saying they're in your network. You know them. And again, I promise you, I've closed so many deals from people that I've given business, because here's what I think. I've closed people that are with Square. Square is a big company for payment processing. And I always tell them, listen, I'm supporting you. You're a local business. I'm a local business. Why not support each other? Why are you giving your business to these bigger guys? And I can give you a much better service or whatever. But again, this is you selling. This is against everything I believe in, but at least now you know them. You actually go and give them business. It's not a brand new, it's not a cold call, but just bring that into their realization so they understand. Like the other day, I shopped at a place a couple of weeks ago. It's a cookie place. And I wasn't getting cookies for me because I don't eat cookies like that, but it was someone that had Square, and they literally said, thank you for shopping at a small business, local small business. And I said, I'm happy to give a local small business a chance, but here's what I do. And now we're working on potentially closing them. So if you don't ask, you're not going to, especially the people that you know, build that relationship. Now, my next thing, what happened with them is, what do you need? What kind of solution are you looking for? What are you happy with Square? What are you not happy with them? And then I get into that onion peeling again. So you have a network. You just don't know about it. You do have a network, and I'm happy to help you with it. Another question that you may be asking or wondering, I don't want to be a local celebrity, and you don't have to. You really don't have to. One thing that I have recently learned is there are 4 layers of positioning, right? One is a creator. You're just a creator. I'm going to give you an analogy of a doctor. So you're a doctor, but you're just a creator. You just at the bottom, you just graduated. You're just starting off. You're doing your residency or whatever the case might be. You're going to make money, but the next step after that is someone that's an expert. Now you become an expert in being a doctor, right? Your pay rate now just went up that much more, okay? Now, let's say you're a brain surgeon or something like that. As far as the specialty, you're expert. You're gonna make more money from being a brain surgeon than you are a generalist, right? A general doctor or whatever they call them. Now let's take it a step further. Now you become authoritative. You have authority as a doctor. You have done great stuff. You've made amazing operations as brain surgery and all of that stuff. And you've helped a lot of people and you've kind of created authoritativeness in your field. Now you're going to make more money than the expert, right? Because you have a track record. Now let's take it a step further. A celebrity. Let's say you're a celebrity doctor. Okay. Now we're peeling that onion we're getting to the depth of it. A celebrity doctor will make more money than all of the examples I just gave you. Okay. Example of that is Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz will charge you $100,000 for 1 hour and you'll pay it depending on who you are and what you need if you're going to get value out of that, right? It's the same thing here. Somebody sees you as a celebrity, they're going to want to sign up with you. That's like, I've seen this guy before. This is awesome. Now that like cold kind of approach is almost gone. You're giving value. You're showing that you've helped people. Again, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do any of it. Just stop watching, turn off your computer and go to McDonald's. Like really, like don't do anything. Don't do any of this. In fact, if you want to do it right and what I think will build this up for you, a sustainable passive income business, these are the steps you would take. Now, what if you have a full-time job? Let's pull out a calculator here for a second. If you have a full-time job, let's call that an 8-hour job. Sleep for 8 hours. That's a total of 16 hours. That's if you sleep for 8 hours, right? So we have 24 hours in a day. We have another 8 hours. Let's say, whatever, you shower and do all of the other BS. Let's shave off another 4 hours. You have 4 solid hours. So stop flexing, stop doing social media scrolling, stop any of that, because that is what is going to get you that much further in life if you stop those. Concentrate on what matters. Those 4 hours can be vital for you. So let's recap these points. Number 1, find a reliable payment processor, create an LLC, register an LLC, and open up a business account. Review your agreement. Make sure you're signing something that you're happy with, following the steps that I've given you. Consult a lawyer and attorney. Once you're approved as an agent, you're ready to go. Utilize your network to kind of get that off the ground. Deliver not just service, deliver great experiences. Generate testimonials from those businesses that you've given those experiences to. Set up your social media so you can start posting those experiences and testimonials in there. Touch base and keep contact with your customers, with your merchants, and make sure you have continued education. That's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you have questions or thoughts, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're interested in building real passive income through payment processing, check out the free community I've created. The link is in the description and it's full of resources and tools to get you started today. Hope to see you on the inside.